Hi YouTube. So I'm Kay and this is obviously my first YouTube video. This is, I guess, the start of my journey of sharing how I started over at 27 and by force, not by choice. This was all God's doing. I did not just wake up one day and decide, yes, I'm ready, it's time, I'm going to start over. It happened every way unimaginable. So this is God's plan for my time and location freedom. I do have my phone. I have a few notes here just to try to keep myself on track. I have desired time and location freedom since 2019 for sure. I have journal entries and passages in my notebooks where I've written to myself around my birthday in 2019 that was my desire and that I felt something was coming. And lo and behold, 2020 happened. Since 2020, I have started my journey of working remotely because I knew that was going to be my very first step towards my time and location freedom, where I could keep my son at home with me, where I could begin to homeschool him properly, and also make a living to take care of us both. By 2023, I had everything or most things that I thought I was working towards. I found myself a nice hybrid new car. I had a higher income, above 60,000, which at the time I thought was pretty decent for, like one income household. I'd developed some relationships that I thought gave me more of a status. And of course, now I realize that they were false relationships. They were built on wrong pretenses, So 2023, around September, was life-changing. And it was definitely a turning point. After I had landed this high-income job, I was working fully remotely on a laptop. No desktop needed unless I wanted to make my work more efficient, but no desktop was needed. I was working as a remote consultant, as a operations manager. And I finally thought that I'd, kind of put together this life or a lifestyle that I could get used to. But it was not making me happy at all. I had started even renovating my home a little bit, and I just still felt unhappy. At the end of September, God took it all away. My car began to have troubles that were not able to be fixed by a small fee. We'll say that. My home began to break down more. And through budget cuts, I was released from my position. I knew that this was a turning point because although I had lost my only stream of income at the time, I did not feel panicked. I was not sitting down doors calling, hey, what can I do to get my job back? I just wasn't stressed. I instantly felt a wave of not gratitude, but a sense of some type of peace. And immediately my mind went into survival mode. I mean, snap, like, okay, what's next? What are we going to do? Just got a piece of paper and a pen. I don't know anyone else have ADHD, but for me, that's the first step for a lot of processes in my life. Piece of paper, pen, what are we going to do? Right? And I started thinking, okay, what can I do that will quickly get me from where I'm finding myself right now to where I need to be? It took me, maybe 3 or so days to kind of sort it all out and just get my thoughts clear enough to fully realize what had transpired, what I needed to do, and how I would move forward to provide for myself and my son, to continue to pay my mortgage, to continue to live my life, comfortably. And it was during that period of isolation, basically, God gave me a revelation. And I see my life from a bird's eye point of view, no longer looking around through these two eyes, but peering at myself from the outside in. And I had realized that I was in an insanity loop in my life from 2020 through 2023, almost the entire year, may I add. I was living the same story over and over again. Some things were changing, but the constants were still there. Same life year after year. And I was not in alignment with God's will or my true purpose for life. And that's why I constantly felt myself either in between jobs or losing a job for the randomest reasons, or having to quit a job due to illness or, some sort of ailment. And I just was trying to figure out why, and that was why. So I finally decided that I'm going to discover what was next through prayer. So I did what I feel like most people would do when they find themselves kind of at a rock bottom. I began to pray, and I began to do all the things that I felt would help me through this time period, start this journey of whatever God had coming next. And within that, I decided I needed to trust God with entrepreneurship. I made a list of my skills that I'd acquired during that time remotely, me working as a consultant, as a virtual assistant, operations manager, all the skill set. I wrote it all down. I wrote down what I felt were my strengths, my weaknesses, and then any areas where I had more than just common knowledge about a topic or a subject. And it was at that point I realized that back in 2020, I'd purchased a virtual assistant course. And even though I did not complete the course, I had already been virtual assisting without realizing it prior to purchasing the course. So as I was going through the course, I realized that I had more knowledge than I thought I did. And that is why I began to transition from working as an employee for, employers or other jobs. I began to contract myself. And I knew that if I was going to start my life over at 27, I needed to respect myself and keep my promises to myself. So if I say I'm going to do something, I decided I was going to start doing it. I started to treat my life like a business. I became the operations manager of my own life, my own reality. And that stuck with me. And it has carried me 6 months. It has been 6 months since this happened. God kept removing things from my life because he wanted to get my attention. He wanted to remove anything that I was using as a mini God, was praising, worshiping without realizing it. But he wanted to remove the distractions so I could hear his voice clearly and focus on that dream 3 or 4 years ago that I kept ignoring because I was going about it in my own way. My purpose is to find my way and help other women, whether they're single moms, whether they are battling with ADHD and neurodiversity like me, whether they have a hard time going through life with menstrual cycle syncing, and they have PCOS like myself, or endometriosis. All these things are a part of my life, and they have once been hindrances, and now I use all of the things that I felt like were minimizing me as my strengths. And I want to help other women find the time and location freedom that I have and I'm still seeking out to, and help them through their journey of faith and resilience and journey of entrepreneurship by trusting God. And I am so excited to share this transformation and my journey with you all.